Atul, and we have Vivek also here with us.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning. How are you,
Good to
Mr.
see you after a long time. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see everybody.
So we are live on Zoom, and I think in the next 1 minute we'll be going live on YouTube and then start. I think we're a minute away from starting, and good afternoon to all the participants here today. So we'll be starting in a minute or so. So where exactly is the school located, ma'am, in Chandigarh? Which sector are you?
It's sector 40 in Chandigarh.
So
And
lovely.
the Mohali school is sector 92. That's close to that Chapparchiri monument.
That's right, that's right. Okay.
Ma'am, Atul is a very good friend. He's Pro Vice Chancellor of Shoolini and he's a very accomplished man, very humble. He'll introduce himself.
I saw that for a person who's not even 50,
Yeah.
that's a good amount of achievements to his credit. You know, a success story by himself.
Yes.
You're just too kind, Rima ma'am. I think it's 12:01. Let me check with Shikha. Shikha, are we going live on YouTube or should we start? Shikha, could you tell us, please? I think we already have around 100 odd teachers. Shikha, I need some feedback from you. I think why don't we start, Vivek? Rima,
Yeah, let's go ahead.
If you,
I'll be doing that, but you can start. It will take me a minute.
Tell me, how many people have joined in? Do we have most of the teachers on board?
we have around 100 odd people joined in right now, Rima ma'am. So I think we should start.
Yeah, that should be okay because the total number I think should be about 170 or 180 joining.
They must be joining, I think. It's so let's start. Good afternoon, teachers. Good afternoon, everyone on this webinar. Good afternoon, Rima ma'am, and good afternoon, Vivek.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ideas That Matter, series of webinars by Shoolini University, Kasoli Hills, Himachal Pradesh. The idea behind Ideas That Matter was actually very simple. Vivek and I came together and said we need to inspire people around us and we need to learn in the process. This was when COVID was just about happening. And we started this series of webinars speaking to teachers across the country. Again, like I said, the idea was to inspire teachers, learn from them, and hopefully in the process, inspire our students. We've done around 46 such webinars now. We've touched 30,000 teachers and probably another 30 to 35,000 students. So we're delighted to be with DPS today. Who doesn't know about Delhi Public School? I still have a grudge. Your school in, I think, Mathura Road did not take me in after my 11th. But that's history. Quick introduction to me. My name is Atul Khosla. I'm the founder and Pro Vice Chancellor of Shoolini University. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur and then did my MBA from a school called Jawaharlal Bajaj. 25 odd years of experience in the industry, firms like McKinsey and Company and Oliver Wyman. 7 different countries, 25 different cities. But then around 6 to 7 years back, the teaching bug hit me and I call myself a very proud teacher now. I teach pretty much every day and it's my honor and delight to host this session with Vivek and Rima ma'am today. As all of you know, we have Vivek who's going to be speaking about his very favorite topic, finding success within. He's an ex-IAS officer, TEDx speaker, motivational speaker. I call him the father of the IT Park of Chandigarh because it was his brainwave to start the IT Park in Chandigarh that we're all so proud of. But more importantly for me, Vivek, you're a very dear friend and a professor at Shoolini University and we keep seeing you all the time. So once again, thank you everyone. I'll request Rima ma'am to please address us for a minute or so and we'll then hand it over to Vivek. The format for the day would be Vivek really sort of taking us through his journey for 35 odd minutes. I will come in for a few minutes in between and we'll also request Rima ma'am to get into a panel discussion at the end. Request all teachers to please keep asking questions, keep commenting. We'll get energy from your comments, your questions, and hopefully this will be an exciting and fruitful discussion. Rima ma'am, over to you.
A very good morning to all present. And first of all, thanks to Shoolini University and Mr. Vivek Atray for giving us this opportunity to be part of this platform. And it's such a pleasure to be addressing all my teachers, you know, after what, 2.5, 3 months, to get them all together on one platform. So for that, I need to be thankful to you. So because, you know, at least if I can't see them all, they are seeing, you know, and that connect is there, which we have been really missing, you know, for so long. Because even if teachers have started coming to school, they're coming on such a staggered basis, you know. So I don't get to see them all. Now, I think there couldn't have been a better topic than finding success within, because I think these 3 months actually have taught us that how the entire definition of success has been redefined for all of us. And if you see, all teachers perhaps who considered themselves as very successful in the classroom and had to take up the entire mantle of digital teaching would have perhaps, you know, been shaken somewhere. And the definition of teacher, the students who get very good marks being successful, you do not know how good listeners they were on the digital platforms. And I also feel that during this time, we've realized that people who are success stories perhaps are devastated. Things have just been, you know, things have totally been shattered. And who are the people who are successful? So I think your topic is so, so relevant, because it is the people who must have found success from within, you know. Somewhere the success to combat the isolation, to combat the depression, to have that kind of emotional strength, to those people who would have found the success to keep learning and keep growing. And all of that would come only from within, you know. Those people who would have found the strength to connect with others, you know, and help out the needy. So I think lots of issues of finding success within and making success of this particular time period, I think there couldn't have been a topic better than this one. You already introduced Mr. Atray, and all that I can say is that he himself is a success story who has redefined success. Because for anybody, a successful IAS officer would be a success. But he is the person who had the strength to resign in 2017. And what a celebrated author and a successful talker at the TED Talks and the Josh Talks, and the way he has started the Chandigarh Literary Society for us, you know, a person and a personal friend I always, always enjoy listening to, because of the connect and the various nuances that he brings to the topic. And of course, it's such a pleasure to meet an accomplished young person like you. I was going through your resume, and so much that you have achieved in the field of strategy and invention and innovation, you know, and being an advisor to SEBI, that is something, you know, to be the SEBI chairman, it's something that, you know, I think would be the highlight in your personal career. So I think it's a pleasure for me to be here on this platform amongst all you people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rima ma'am. I think Vivek and I are both blushing, and hopefully we'll live up to the occasion. Truly appreciate. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you, Atul Khosla. Thank you for the warm welcome once again. And thank you, Rima ma'am, for a very warm welcome as well. It's very nice to see you. And the last we met, I think, was at a function in your school where I and Mr. Mahavir Singh, the judge, I think we were both speaking on a very interesting topic a few months ago and a few months before lockdown, when life was different. Times have changed, definitions have changed, as you said. And let us talk a little bit about success. Thank you for all the kind words and warmth. And Atul Khosla, I must tell you, it's a pleasure to be in this webinar series with you, because we have been now reaching out to more than 45 schools. But I can tell you that no school would be better than DPS, because the way Rima ma'am and the teachers, I've been there, I've seen the students and the teachers working, the way they function is very, very amazing. and a very energetic group of teachers. I can see 141 of them now. So 141 is a very good number, and I'm sure some of them may also be on YouTube. We will talk now about success and what success is and how the context of life keeps changing, but the definition of happiness and success really should not have changed, but we didn't realize it until now. So what has happened is that people have started looking at success now as a true giver of peace and happiness and joy. If success does not give happiness and joy, then what is the meaning of that success? Money, power, and fame are three things which people are searching and yearning for in the materialistic world. Money, power, and fame are all fleeting, all transitory. They can't really give us true joy and happiness. It is the person who enjoys the journey and the person who goes within and finds happiness inside somewhere in the inner being that finds success, true success. So let us look at a person who is, let's say, a little more adventurous. Let me start with a story. There was a lady with her 5-year-old boy who went to a concert, and this concert, 5-year-old boys were not allowed, but somehow she smuggled him in many years, decades ago. This was in Poland. And Pedrevsky was the composer, the musician who was to perform that day. And Pedrevsky was still to come on the stage. The curtain was closed. The lady sat down with her boy. And then she saw a friend somewhere 2 rows ahead, like happens in Tagore Theatre or wherever you go. You see somebody, then you go and meet them. So she told her son, you keep sitting here, and went and to meet this lady. And while she was talking to him, obviously a 5-year-old will not sit still. So he gets up and goes onto the stage and finds a red light which says no entry, but he goes inside because 5-year-olds are adventurous. So he goes inside and he goes and sits on the chair meant for Pedrevsky. And he sits in front of the piano and he starts playing the piano. And suddenly the curtain opens and time to open, and the lady goes back to her seat and finds the boy is not on the seat but is on the stage where Pedrevsky is supposed to be. And she's scared that they will throw us out and whatever, but Pedrevsky comes and the boy is fiddling with the piano keys and making some sounds with them. Pedrevsky starts improvising with the 5-year-old, and for 1 hour they played together. The 5-year-old with his own ways and the Pedrevsky improvising as a maestro master. And how that concert becomes the most successful concert ever for Pedrevsky. That is the stuff of legends. And he actually goes on to become the Prime Minister of Poland one day. Not because of that concert, but generally he must have had qualities. And this lady and her son become famous. And they're in the papers. That boy becomes a kind of darling of the town. And this lady also, despite having smuggled in the boy and done something wrong, he also becomes very popular. All her problems are solved. So life is sometimes about becoming fearless and not becoming too inhibited by what people will think. Success comes from being very hugely creative and being able to break the norms and break the mold. Of course, we have to live in a society where there are rules and limits. We cannot be over adventurous, but we can be somewhat creative and adventurous compared to what we are. We know that children in our schools are not taught creativity at all, or not even encouraged in most schools to be creative. Most of the time they have to learn what is on the books, and they have to learn lessons, they have to cram things, they have to memorize things, and that is probably a fault of the education system. Some schools have taken it upon themselves, and I know DPS has, to indulge the children in creative activities. However, much more needs to be done to make these personalities of the children creative personalities with all-round creativity. They may be intelligent, but what did Einstein say about creativity and intelligence? Einstein said, creativity is intelligence having fun. Intelligence having fun is creativity. So we have to let these children explore the limits of their minds and go beyond what they are normally told and taught. And let's look at the teachers. The teachers themselves lead, if I can say so, routinized lives, and everyone does. I've been an officer in the government, very routinized kind of life, where we do things according to a timetable, largely. In the school, of course, there's a timetable. In our lives, there is a timetable. But where do we have that time for creativity, happiness, meditation, self-development, reading a book every day, finding that joy which is elusive? That joy doesn't come to us because we are running from pillar to post, seeking it somewhere in the materialistic world. Let me explain what I mean. A person who is running after short-term goals, one after the other, and is so busy that he or she doesn't have time to pause and reflect and introspect, will not find lasting joy. Lasting joy will come when we sit down and contemplate and find that we can enjoy ourselves much more if we eliminate certain activities, if we include certain activities, and then our lives can be reformed in the right direction. So creativity needs to be incorporated in our lives to be successful. True success means actually going within. And going within has been taught to us by this pandemic and this lockdown, because by force we have had to go within. What is that within? The within journey means that actually we start developing our soul qualities. If we look at the body, mind, and soul as three components of a human being, of course, the soul part is not in the biology books or in the physics books. It is only in the scriptures. And the soul is something which we need to nourish, just as we nourish the body and mind. The soul is nourished by meditation. The soul is nourished by laughter, by walking in nature, maybe by silence, instead of talking too much or listening too much or watching too much or screen time too much. That is not giving us soul happiness. So that deeper happiness of soul probably comes from turning the spotlight from away to within. And if we turn the spotlight within, then we understand ourselves better. What really makes us happy? Who do we really want to be with? And what do we really want to do in order to become happy? If we turn the spotlight towards ourselves, then success comes more easily. Because success is not a goal or a destination. Success is a journey. And a journey for every teacher, for every student, for every officer, for every businessman, for every housewife. It is a journey of joy. Most people are grumpy at the time when things are going wrong. But some people are still calm and collected and composed. And these are the people who are winning the battle of life. Those who are composed and calm and cheerful under stress and duress are truly successful people. So we're going to pause here. I don't know if the timing is right. Yeah, it is right. And I'm going to pass this on to Atul Khosla to add his views on finding success within, and also to show you a very, very beautiful video of Aman, a success story from Shoolini. Over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. So lovely, beautiful thoughts. I have to say, every time I listen to you, it's just absolutely fantastic. There's one idea that I'd like to bring in, which is making ordinary people extraordinarily successful. As a teacher, I always tell my faculty members that it's very easy to pick up, students who were 95, 98, 99% in their examination, or they were very intelligent, and we made them successful. We got them into All India Institute or IIT or toppers at NEET. But how do you pick up students who are what I call the belly of India, who are sort of the mediocre students that we call in conventional description, and make them world beaters? And I think that's the passion that I have. That's the passion that I think all of us have as teachers, and definitely we have at Shoolini. So the thought I'd like to bring in over here is the concept of creativity, leadership, imagination, and inspiration. I think when all of these come together, magic happens. The reason I'm mentioning this is because there's a student of ours, her name is Aman, and we'll show a video on Aman in a second. She comes from a lesser privileged family in Punjab. She was relatively okay in studies in her undergrad and masters. In fact, I would call her a difficult student, and you know what I mean by difficult. Then some magic happened when she went into her doctoral studies, her PhD. She has now discovered a molecule which, when added to water, kills bacterial activity by 99.9%. She's been awarded a Young Water Fellowship by the United Nations. She spent 3 to 4 months in Geneva as part of this program. There were more than 100,000 students and researchers who applied for this award. She's won a 25 lakh award from Tata Trust. But more importantly, she might change the way the world drinks water. She might even win the Nobel Prize. Who knows if she goes the way she is going. So what changed her was great leadership from her teachers, from her professor, from her guide, collaboration from fellow students across the world, inspiration hopefully that we gave her, inspiration to be fearless, inspiration to think outside the box, and a lot of creativity that she brought into her thinking. So this is the story of Aman for you, someone who was considered to be a lost case, very ordinary, and someone who's become extraordinary. So if you allow me, Vivek, I'm going to play a video. That's Aman for us. I think I'd like to speak for one more minute if you allow me, Vivek. I've been reading a lot about success, since we started doing these webinars. And every time I read different authors, the concept of purpose keeps popping up. And author after author after author talk about the fact that organizations or people who have a purpose in life are way more successful than organizations or people who are running after a ranking or marks or whatever else. And that purpose will give you success not just within but also outside. There's a very famous quote by Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. He said, to be successful in today's world, you need to be a missionary, not a mercenary. Mercenaries work for money, missionaries work for purpose. And the irony is that the missionaries will also make the money. So find a purpose in your life and all of you will be very successful. I think as teachers, we can also help our students discover a purpose in their life. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you very much, Atul. Very inspiring words and the video. And just to bring a context to this webinar, we are talking about finding success within. And Atul and I discussed this topic with Atul and his team. And actually it germinates from the name of my book, which was launched in March. And this is my book. It is called Finding Success Within. 52 Life Skills for Young People, 52 Life Skills for Young Indians. This is a book which is available on Amazon. You can order it or read it and share it with your students also, because I have given 52 life skills which I have found that are useful for me, have been useful. And I feel that if students focus on these, just 2 or 3 pages on each life skill, and if they focus on these practical skills as well as skills such as mindfulness, meditation, seeing the bigger picture, what really matters in life, then that really will give them happiness and success. I would also like to talk about the fact that true leaders and truly successful people are also, if they are really successful, they are also humble. You look at Lata Mangeshkar, you look at someone like Dr. Abdul Kalam, you look at Sachin Tendulkar, never lost his cool, never lost his composure, despite all the adulation and all the love that he got from all over the world. In fact, I was watching a video of Tendulkar and how he is different from others. Let us talk about how a man like him was successful. Even if you don't follow cricket, it's very easy, this example. So Tendulkar was batting and Rahul Dravid was batting at the other end. They were taking singles and changing places. And Chris Kane, the New Zealand bowler, was making the ball swing. I am a cricketer, so the reverse swing was taking place. And which means that the ball was not following a straight path. It was curving towards one side. And they didn't know which side it is going to turn or swing. And Tendulkar realized that he, standing at the non-striker's end, close to the bowler, can see which side of the ball the bowler has the ball in. So the side which is rough, at reverse swing, it will go towards the shiny side. So he said to Rahul, he says, every time he has the ball in a particular direction, I will hold my bat in that direction at the non-striker's end. You will know which side the ball is going to swing. And after that, they hit a couple of fours, the other side. And suddenly Chris Kane was very surprised. Earlier they were being beaten, couldn't see the ball, and now they're hitting boundary after boundary. So even someone like Sachin Tendulkar keeps thinking differently and strategizing as to how to be successful. Now, this is an intelligent thing to do. But what is more important is the emotional intelligence part. How we can be truly successful is to be content, calm, and collected and cool in our mind, whatever goes wrong. How can we think clearly when we are restless and disturbed? Nobody can take decisions when the mind is ruffled. And the great sage says the example of a pond of still water where the reflection of the moon is very clear. But if the water is ruffled by the wind, then the moon's reflection is distorted. Similarly, in our soul or in our mind, we can see the picture clearly when our mind is still and calm. When you're driving rashly, it means you're in a hurry, you're disturbed. You're going to overtake where you're not supposed to overtake. So many things we do out of anger and restlessness. And we say things which we regret. We hurt people who we didn't want to hurt because we lost our cool. A truly successful person is able to control his bad moments, maybe minimize them. We are human. Nobody is superhuman here. We are all here because we are imperfect. But if we can minimize our tendency to be irritable, to be angry, to be restless, to be doing something we shouldn't be doing, by introspecting, by sitting at the end of the day and reflecting, these 5 things which I lost my temper at, maybe 2 of them were not worth it. Tomorrow, or 3 of them, I will try my best not to do it again. A sign of a highly successful person who is improving every day because of this effort. It is not easy. We are human. We will feel scared. We will feel negative at times, but not most of the time. We should try and be positive, cheerful, and constructive and creative most of the time. I've got a list of qualities here which are from the Bhagavad Gita. And the scriptures, any scriptures of the world, any religion will tell you the same thing. And these qualities are 26 qualities enunciated by Bhagavan Krishna to Arjuna. I'll just read out some of them. If we can improve in some of these qualities, then we can find success, in my view. Number one is fearlessness. Now, fearlessness cannot come to human beings because at times we will be worried, scared. But we can improve our fearlessness by improving our faith. Faith in what? Faith in ourselves, faith in God, faith in our family. What are we worried normally about? That this person will let us down. This person will be late. Or this thing I will not be able to do. So these fearlessness qualities. Then honesty is the age-old quality. 1,000 years ago, honesty was the same as today. So if we look at ourselves in the mirror and see our character, when nobody is watching, what do we do? Parents tell their children who are driving now, don't cross the red light. But if parents cross the red light or have been crossing the red light, then the children are not going to listen to them. They're going to do exactly what the parents do. So honesty means living your example. The next is, let us say, modesty, humbleness. Humbleness is something which is a sign of greatness. Power is something which is fleeting. I've been an IAS officer. I have seen people who are humble. I've seen people who are arrogant. And I've seen people who are balanced, who are strong, yet they can't be taken, they're gentle but strong. So you have to find that balance in power. And power and authority are not as important as respect and goodwill. As a teacher, if you want respect and goodwill, it means that a student will come to you after 15, 20 years at a railway station and say, ma'am, you taught me, I still remember you, I really look up to you, this is my wife, these are my kids. And you know, that goodwill and respect is unmatched for a teacher, an officer, any public servant or anyone. If we try to earn respect consciously, there's no harm. Then we are loved for what we are, not because we are the headmistress or the teacher or whatever we are. That authority is fleeting, but goodwill is permanent. Very, very important. Another quality which is there is absence of fickleness. Fickleness is something that, you know, we are dependent on moods. My mood makes me say one thing today and just the opposite thing tomorrow. That means I'm fickle. Moods are something which come to us all. But Paramahansa Yogananda, author of the autobiography of a yogi, he says, have a chamber within your heart where you don't allow moods to enter. Carry a portable paradise within you. Now this portable paradise is a great concept. Wherever I go, I have a portable paradise within me which doesn't allow negativities to enter. This is the book which I follow. It's the autobiography of a yogi. Many of you have seen it, read it, heard of it. It is by Paramahansa Yogananda, and I follow his teachings. I meditate, Kriya Yoga I follow every morning and evening, my wife and I. It helps to understand the larger picture of life, to contemplate, meditate, introspect, to slow down your mind and spend time in stillness, which will then be reflected in your demeanor and conduct throughout the day. Those who are meditating in the morning or previous night or whatever, you can make out this person is glowing today. It's not because of your makeup. It's not because what you wore. It is because your face reflects. You may not be beautiful or good looking, but you glow. And that glow comes from within. And a person who glows from within is a truly successful person in my view. You can look at anyone. You can look at truly successful people. Bill Gates, very humble man. Jeff Bezos, not so humble yet. However, very innovative, very, very active. Elon Musk, again, very, very energetic, dynamic, humility. And that calm center from which they operate will help them to grow even more. So I think I'm going to pause here, and it's already time to take some questions. And Atul, Khosla, I'd invite you back to please share your thoughts again and also to show another video to us, very inspiring one.
Thank you, Vivek. You know, what I really love about you is that you're so humble yourself. And when you speak, you know, you're a case example on being very successful, both from outside and from inside. I'd like to bring up a survey which was done by Harvard University recently. They've been tracking, I think, 4 generations of successful people, both people who grew up from the slums of Boston to guys who actually went to Harvard. And there were two very interesting thoughts that came about over 4 different generations. The first was that the historical thought that people who are successful will be happy is actually wrong. Happy people are successful, way more successful than the other way around. So I think that's the first myth that broke. I think our rishis and Paramhansa Yogananda Guruji have been talking about it for years, but Harvard is also now understanding it. The second thing they spoke about was that people who have social contact, people who are not loners, people who have a deep belonging with the community, or who have great family structures, are way more happier and way more successful, and also live significantly beyond a healthy life of 70 than people who don't. So I think that's also a very, very important thing. So make friends. This is time to do that, engage with them over internet or otherwise. That's very, very critical. And I think our students need to know this. The last thought which I wanted to leave over here, Vivek, was inspiration. When we think about students at Shoolini, and when we think about how we teach, or we think about the environment over here, the only word that comes to my mind is inspiration. I truly, truly believe that if students are inspired, magic happens. And when magic happens, nothing can stop them from both being happy and also being successful. I wanted to tease all of you over here because I know it's 38 degrees Celsius in Chandigarh. It's very warm. You got your air conditioners on or your fans on. It started raining in Solan and Shoolini right now. The weather's actually dipped. The temperature has dipped to 21 degrees, Vivek. And in fact, my wife came and showed me a sweater. She said I should wear a sweater. But just to give you a sense about Shoolini, I've got a small video I wanted to give you. I just can't help just showing you, how it looks like over here. So I'm going to show you some glimpses of Shoolini, if you allow me, Vivek. And hopefully you'll find it as inspiring as I do every day. So Vivek, I am very tempted to say one last thing. We're all in my previous job at McKinsey, we would say that we are insecure overachievers. I think all of us are, our students are, we want to achieve more. And it's very exciting for me to tell everyone that yesterday the NIRF university rankings were out. These are Government of India rankings, which have been coming out for the last 5 years. So Shoolini is now #1 in Himachal. We have lots of public and private universities here, around 20 of them. But more importantly, in North India, we're now the 3rd best private university. So I get very, very excited. Numbers are just numbers, and rankings are just rankings, but hopefully we're doing a good job. So I think we'll go into Q&A now. Vivek, lots and lots of thoughts, lots of questions. I would love to, get your views, and Rima ma'am, if you could also join the discussion, we'd truly appreciate it.
Yes, Atul, I think we have more than 100 comments.
You will have
and
to,
more than
yeah, absolutely. And
150
Rima ma'am will have
participants.
to unmute herself. I think that's otherwise going to be able to listen to her.
I
Yes,
think
so
let's take some questions from
let's
the
take some questions.
and
Yeah.
then perhaps
I saw a lovely comment by Tejinder Kaur, ma'am. I was very appreciative of that. I couldn't read it carefully, but somewhere there, I totally agree. She talked about success and leadership and wonderful. Atul, would you take the question?
I will start
right.
asking you.
Yeah, that'd
Right?
be nice. Yeah.
So Pavan, I think that's Pavan sir. He's saying that the pandemic has made us rethink over the long-term impact, social society, how that's going to move. So he's asking, how do we deal with COVID in education institutions? I think he's asking both from a teaching perspective, but more importantly,
Pavan Singh is heading the Mohali school.
Oh, lovely!
And,
nice to meet you, Pavan sir.
She is a.
Oh, she.
Madam
Okay. Nice to meet you, ma'am. Okay.
So maybe I can take that
yeah,
question.
please take it up. Please
so as an institution, I think we don't need to be over worried, number one, because the pandemic is global. It is pan-India as well as pan-world. We need to be innovative, and you are already innovative. I know the kinds of quality of teachers, that faculty that you have. It is clear even from the comments. I mean, we have been doing 45 webinars. Often we get so-so comments, but today they're outstanding. I can see even from the quality. And I know, being a Chandigarh person and having promoted Chandigarh for 7 or 8 years in my profession, I know that you have the right faculty and the right team. So just being innovative and being alert, aware, adaptive, maybe taking precautions, yet being confident that things would work out, and man management, people management, not letting anyone feel depressed, keeping them motivated and feeling better all the time. Having, if I can say so, such webinars maybe every 15 days, maybe some other organization or some other speakers. Although Atul and I would probably love to come to your school again and speak. But just by being constructive and innovative, I think.
So Vivek, I'll just add one more thing. I'm coming out of a webinar where there were lots of global educationists in there, some 20 of them. And I think what's coming out is that in this whole online world, we need to start building communities, which we normally do in the offline or on the real world. What I mean by communities is engagement with parents, engagements with people from the community, the neighborhood, and engagement with our students. Especially for students is very, very important. And this was a very big learning for me because at least I know, at least I'm talking about Shoolini, we've sort of left our students alone in a monologue. We are not probably orchestrating a student-to-student interaction to the extent that which we do in the classroom. So creating those communities, which can be done, I think even in an online environment, should probably be encouraged. That's one new learning I got today, so I just thought I'd mention to everyone.
Absolutely.
I'd like to say that in addition to all that Mr. Atray said about the school, that we have the right team and everything, I think we have the heart in the right place.
Absolutely.
For all teachers, because I personally feel that empathy is a very, very important part, It's only that can bring the entire happiness to an environment. And actually, what are we training our students for? Basically, it is problem solving. And like you so rightly said, any and every problem, and look at this child, Aman. After all, it's, solving a major problem, troubleshooting. And actually, this is one skill that will only and only come with creative and critical thinking. And in our school, we are actually, working a lot towards fostering critical literacy, where creative thinking is a very, very important element. Because actually, if you see, any kind of success anywhere would also require you to have relatable skills to people, would need to you to have employable skills. And what we find is that if you see the data, 40% of the problem solving soft skills are missing, 30% of the communication skills are missing. So these are the kind of things that we really need to work on, and they don't need rocket science or physics, history, chemistry. They just, like I said, like you very rightly said, they just need those cues from the Bhagavad Gita or the beautiful skill sets that you have given in your book. So all of these things, if we put together, I think we will have successful human beings. He may not be successful. And सबसे बड़ी हमारी मुसीबत है कि सारा time we keep on wondering about कि वो चार लोग क्या कहेंगे. I think we need to leave the चार लोग aside and use our own heart and mind to define our own definition of success.
Absolutely.
So well said, ma'am. You know, I define it a little differently. I say, in the conventional sense, I actually call them hard skills. These are not soft skills because they're very hard to get. And I call them the 3 R's, the R of reasoning, which is problem solving, the R of reading, and the R of writing. I think students who can get these 3 R's will actually be very, very successful. So well said, ma'am.
Add to that, literacy, like you said, connected, staying apart.
So Chavi ma'am is asking, at the junior level, it's getting very tough for the young kids. And you run a toddler school, Vivek. Your wife drives that. So what are your thoughts about how do we deal with students at the junior level?
Absolutely. My wife runs a toddler school in Panchkula, and I find that she is working with the parents a lot because for junior kids, it is very important to have a constructive environment at home. Recently, I've even touched upon the very serious topic of domestic violence in a message which will be coming out today or tomorrow. And an abusive kind of home will really impact the lives of the children. And those who are always negative, criticizing people and all, the children are very sensitive. And their ears pick up such things and their hearts really sink when they see such. They become shy and withdrawn. So it is very important for a constructive and positive environment to be there at home, especially. And parents need to be counseled for that. Junior kids, yes, keep them busy with activities, poetry competition, writing competition, art competitions, music competition, something or the other, and just keeping them creatively engaged and encouraging parents to have a wholesome atmosphere. That is important.
Great. Absolutely. So Harmeen, ma'am is asking, how do you keep your expectations and hope high if you meet failure again and again? That's for
important
you, Vivek.
Question. Very, very important question. I think that's Atul and I have both had variegated careers. Rima ma'am has been obviously an educationist, and the variety within this field of education also must have been a lot. So every one of us has met with success and failure in various ways. And failure is actually a stepping stone to success, as is known. And people nowadays, young entrepreneurs, they say, I have one startup and 2 failed startups. It is like a badge or a medal that they wear because they realize that they have learned something from this failure. So failure is a stepping stone to success. The person who has the ability to bounce back, to be resilient, and not take things so adversely. The next morning, you should get up with less fear and worry. Today the failure happened, tomorrow you should be better, day after tomorrow you should be even better, and the third day you should be bouncing back. So that's how you should be.
So the word which comes to my mind, which you of course said, resilient, Vivek, is tenacity. So when I look at successful people around, I think the difference between many of them versus the guys and the have-nots is that they had the tenacity to live their passion or the purpose for many, many, many years. It's not easy for Vivek, for example, to leave his IAS job. I'm sure lots of people would have told him, "Pagal ho gaye, how can you do it?" Right? I mean, that happens all the time. And I'll tell you one story about me also a little later, Vivek. But having this tenacity to be talking to teachers, to students every day, And mark my words, Vivek, in 5 years' time, not 2 million, you'll have 50 million views or probably more. You'll be a star. And that's what tenacity does.
2 million for now.
Lovely. So, Rajni ma'am is asking, I think what she's saying is that I agree with finding success within, but how do I express this to high school students or students? We live in a very materialistic world. How do they get the concept of finding success within?
This is a brilliant question. I think all your questions are superb. Teachers, I must congratulate you. This is absolutely a practical question when youngsters are told that success means marks, means admission to IIM or IIT or IAS, entry to IAS, the 3 I's, I call them. And the stepping stone to a successful career is, money and prosperity. So how can you tell them that success is found within? Well, actually, if you look at it, it is not an imbalance. It is perfectly balanced, this perspective. We have to tell them that you have to be ambitious, you have to be aspirational, you have to do more and better in the world, try and get more marks, try and become more successful, more prosperous. But that is not what is going to give you happiness unless you have the contentment and the peace within. So both are important. Even a person who has a small car is able to get from point A to point B. A person who has a Mercedes will get there from point A to point B in the same time or just a little quicker, and more comfort, more glamour, more whatever. It doesn't really affect our success. We have to look within for success, and we have to keep on doing what we are expected to do. So people have to be told to balance their lives. Young people have to be told to balance their lives and achieve success from within and without.
So well said. Rima ma'am, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I could see you smiling when Vivek was answering. I'm sure you have lots of thoughts. And you deal with so many students.
There was something that I was reading once that really left an imprint on me, and that is that we keep on, these are such two absolutely different views altogether. So as teachers and all, we keep on harping on marks and marks and marks. And having been in the profession for more than 35 years, I can tell you one thing, and that is very, very rarely have I seen the school toppers. Way back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the toppers used to be what, 93, 94%. Today you have 99 point some percent. But very rarely I've seen the school toppers come back as success stories. It was those children, who along with marks, explored the other dimensions of their personality, who a decade later have been success stories. And to share here, people like Veerdas and Nimrat and all their children who have been taught by me, I taught them economics. So they were people who had the courage to take the different route. So I read somewhere that the smart kids who become success stories are the ones who actually play along with what the teachers and the parents are saying intelligently, outwardly, like exactly what he said, outwardly, working towards the marks, but inwardly not leaving your own passion and your own creativity and secretly following that also. So somewhere perhaps you may be a little hypocritical towards the teachers, but don't leave your passion inside. Ultimately, when you combine the two, you'll be a success story.
Absolutely. Well said.
So beautifully said, ma'am. I mean, I was thinking about my friends from IIT and who've been the ones who've done very well. And they were never the 10 pointers, but they've been the 6, 8 pointers. But I don't think it's about how much marks you had. It's more about people who had a purpose, a passion, and a fire in the belly are the ones who did
I
very
remember
well.
when my daughter was studying in the States and the early 2000s, and in the job market, they would look at a perfect 4-pointer with a little bit of skepticism, but a 3.8, a 3.9 with a whole lot of varied, options. And a person who's worked on his personality would be far more welcome, to the big 5 or the big 4, So those are things I think we as educationists really need to keep in. Mike.
I'm going to bring up very small point over here, ma'am, because as a partner at McKinsey, I was doing a lot of recruiting. I actually was heading the whole recruiting effort for McKinsey for many, many years. And unlike what a lot of people think that, only the toppers make it, it's absolutely wrong, because what top firms are looking for are well-rounded people, and people who actually have one or two spikes, but typically they're well-rounded. And the four skills actually what McKinsey would look for were problem solving, which you said, being a team player, communication skills, and values. Very important. We would test values by putting people into,
and people skills, which is so very important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what they studied, whether they studied history or medicine or law or engineering, honestly didn't matter, because the belief was if you're smart, you'll pick it up. It doesn't really matter. So beautifully said, ma'am. So so the students who get 85% marks, all is not lost. I think that's what we need to tell them, because they come back so disgusted, after the 10th or the 12th examinations. Kamaljeet, ma'am, I think we've answered that. Archana ma'am is asking two questions. How important meditation is, Vivek. I think that's for you.
Very good. I'm glad you asked.
I know you've got a glow in your face, and I think Rima ma'am does a lot of meditation. I know that. I can see that from her face. But Vivek, that's for you, and then quickly we'll get into Rima.
Yeah, so I follow meditation every day in the morning and evening. I started about 12 years ago, and I find it to be a beautiful part of my life. My wife and I both practice Kriya Yoga, the YSS path, Yogoda Satsang Society. It is founded by Paramahansa Yogananda, the author of the autobiography. So we have a complete schedule of meditation and exercises. You must incorporate it in your life. If you are just a beginner, just start small by 10 minutes, 15 minutes of sitting quietly, watching your breath. It's a very simple technique. And yssofIndia.org is the website. I'll write it down that I follow. But you can follow any path that you like. And on the previous point, I just want to add to what Rima ma'am and Atul said. I have a quote in my book, which is very humbly, I must say, life is not about marks. Life is about making a mark. So this is something that you must follow, all students.
Even Dalai Lama said, I think, talking about meditation, he made a statement, I think, a few years ago, that if students are taught meditation starting age 12, there will be no terrorists in this world anymore.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
True.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So in our school, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. No, go ahead, Rima.
In our school, the day starts through the public address system with collective yoga and 2 minutes meditation for the entire school. So the teachers and the students, they start their day. I mean, I don't think it's a perfect environment. You otherwise have yoga and meditation activity. But then the beginning, in the first thing in the morning, we have about 10 minutes of this yoga. And at least closing the eyes, it also brings a lot of semblance and discipline to the school, Otherwise, morning, how do you, channelize their energies? They're all totally bursting, and they really want to, there'd be so much of, so you find that this particular school in the morning is quieter, perhaps, than the rest of the day. And like you said, and like Mr. I don't know how you guessed, but yes, like Mr. Atray, I also have been doing yoga for a long, long time. And very simple ones, nothing of the Kriya Yoga and all, but those basic Soham and, the basic focusing on your breath. Because I feel that...
Ma'am, your eyes and the glow on your face and your smile tells it that you have to do meditation.
Thank you so much. And, basically, I think that all of us have so much stress in lives, and our jobs are so demanding with so many stakeholders, and each stakeholder's need is different, and the expectation is different, and somewhere they're also conflicting expectations. You can see at this moment the entire controversy over the fees. As a principal, you're caught in between. If you satisfy the parents, you are somewhere being unjust to the teachers who are working so much. So, I mean, there's stress all around. So ultimately, I feel that is the only me time that I have, kind of, where I can just focus on myself and have a connect. And another thing that I do is just when and that could be, that could work for people. When I am doing my walks, rather than being on
We lost. Vivek, are you there? I
Connected.
think we
Yeah, I'm
lost,
there.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Maybe we
think
can carry on.
we will carry on. So
It's
Jitendra
time.
sir is asking the value of visualization in success.
Yeah, visualization is a beautiful technique. When you visualize strongly enough that you are successful, then success can actually be achieved. Along with visualization, also add affirmation. So affirmations are also a spiritual technique, but very useful. I will succeed. I will win. I will overcome all obstacles. Keep on repeating that in your mind. I will succeed. I will win. I will overcome all obstacles. Visualize yourself as being successful. It is said the law of attraction works, and whatever you feel strongly enough about, it will happen. So I think
So
that's
this
something.
reminds me of a very famous Shah Rukh Khan dialogue from Om Shanti Om. इतनी शिद्दत से तुम्हें पाने की कोशिश की है कि जर्रे जर्रे ने हमें मिलाने की साजिश की है.
क्या बात.
So
बिल्कुल सही.
true.
शिद्दत
So
से जरूर.
Eddie is asking, he's saying that, success is great, it's sweet, but too much success can lead to arrogance. So how do we ensure that we don't fall into this trap?
Yeah, very true. Arrogance is to be avoided. We are successful, but we need not be. In fact, as I said, true greatness comes from humility. Even someone like Dr. Manmohan Singh, I met him very closely. And being the Prime Minister, he had such calmness in his exterior. He was so calm and collected. So I think humility is something which adds to your success, adds to your aura. And that aura of being calm, humble, actually is powerful, more powerful than arrogance.
So, we've got 5 minutes left. I would like every question to be answered, Vivek. So we'll go a little quickly.
Let's go. Rapid fire.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll do rapid fire. So Anurag sir is asking that should there not be 2 to 3 times counseling session for parents? Probably Rima ma'am, you can pick this up. What's your view on counseling session with parents?
Counseling for session for the teachers?
For the parents.
For the parents. I think the school does have an inbuilt system of counseling sessions, and we are now working towards having a lot of counseling session with the parents, because at online counseling sessions, because I think at this time that is the need and the requirement of the day. But I agree that we can work for more and more counseling sessions, and we'd like to have you people involved also. Just let the times get a little back to normal, or perhaps we can organize some online sessions as well.
So we can do that with the parents, I think. Absolutely, ma'am. That's
absolutely
great. Sangeeta ma'am is asking, how do you make failure a success?
Yeah, so failure is to be learned from. It is the old story of Thomas Alva Edison, who invented the light bulb after 1,000 failures. So you keep on eliminating that which you did wrong and you try and improve. Failure is something which is a learning experience. And who actually feels bad about failure? You feel bad because people start scoffing, laughing, or deriding you. So if you are strong with yourself and you don't give up, then you learn from failure and succeed.
So 3 very similar questions. Sunita ma'am, Parul ma'am, and Gitika ma'am are asking. Sunita ma'am is saying, what is the yardstick for success? Parul is saying, is success defined by power and position? And Gitika ma'am is asking, what role does happiness play in being successful? I think they're all connected. You want to answer this, Vivek?
Yeah. So I feel that you have to do well in your career, no doubt. You have to aspire to be better at your work. Hard work will help. Enjoying your work is a big, important factor. Inspiration, as Atul also mentioned, getting up with fire and energy every morning. That is the early part of it. And then true happiness lies in actually enjoying the journey from within. That means that you are peaceful and calm despite whatever is happening outdoors or outside. So you keep striving for success in the world and keep turning the spotlight and finding peace within. Then it is true success. You balance both the exterior and the interior.
I like this question, anonymous attendee. I wish you had given your name. What is success for a child of 4 to 5 years? I
Yeah,
think
so
that's a
maybe,
beautiful question.
I think success for a 4 or 5 years when you get a chocolate or a toy or whatever you wanted. I think for a child, success is not the point. The point is that happy moments which he or
That's
she
right.
lives, and there the true success is that definition which we as grown-ups forget. So I think they are more successful than us 4-year-olds.
I
I'd
would
like to, yeah, go on, ma'am, please.
I'd like to add here, so beautifully said that, at that particular age, I think success is all about happiness, being loved, and being cared. And that language they understand fully. So if they are loved and if they are cared and if they are happy in one way or the other, whether it's a chocolate or a cake or whatever it is, I think for them that is being successful, that they've reached out to the older people.
And I think as parents and elders, we can actually play that role. And I have to just give a confession. My worst memories, Vivek, are the 1 or 2 times I remember my parents having fought in front of me. And I still, get goose pimples, or I get a weird feeling in my spine thinking about those. Not that they were major fights, but still it had an impact on a young person like me. So I think we can avoid these type of situations in front of our students, avoid
Absolutely.
bad things in front of our students. So Ravneet, ma'am is saying, following your dream makes you happy, but might not bring success. How do you guide your children and your students around? I disagree with this, but I'll request Rima ma'am and Vivek to answer this.
Uh, Personally, I feel there is no one definition of success. So if something gives you happiness and you do that well, then you are a very successful person. Otherwise, we wouldn't have successful musicians and successful painters and successful doctors and successful homemakers.
Exactly.
So therefore, whatever gives you happiness and you do it with your heart and soul. So I think that is what success is. For every person, the definition is different.
Absolutely true, ma'am. And just to add to what you and Atul said, I feel that thinking too much about what others think is also a malady. We always think of success in worldly terms. He or she will find us successful if we do this, our name in the newspaper. These things are transitory and people forget. And tomorrow or day after, they are concerned about their own lives. So don't think too much about what they think. Whatever gives you joy, that is true success.
So Vivek, Rima ma'am, we are coming to an end. I don't think we'll be able to answer all the questions. There's so many of
Lots
them,
of
but I'll just
compliments also.
yeah, lots
Compliments
of.
are
But I'll
all
just mention the
welcome.
name of the teachers who asked questions, and we can reply to them over email. Aparna ma'am is asking a question. Tajinder ma'am, Kamna ma'am, Rajni ma'am, Renu ma'am, Garima, Rajesh sir, Kamna ma'am. Thank you very much for being so participative. I can tell you this is amongst the best sessions Vivek and I have had. Just shows the quality of the teachers and the school you have, and I'm sure the leadership, and of course DPS and the culture that the school brings in. So thank you very much. I think before we close, as I always do, I'll request the two panelists to sum up whatever thoughts, but in one sentence. You're only allowed one sentence. So Vivek, first you, and then Rima ma'am.
I think Atul is very tough on the last sentence, but
Absolutely.
in one sentence, there is a question by Tamanna ma'am about the law of attraction. So I'll close with that. Think positive thoughts and be calm and cheerful, and you will attract success.
Rima ma'am.
I would say the same. Be positive, be happy, and you will be successful.
So there was a very famous song in The Lion King, Hakuna Matata. So be happy, be carefree. I think we should not worry too much. We've learned through Corona that we don't need clothes to make us happy. I was joking with Vivek the other day that I've got so many clothes, Rima ma'am, that I don't need to buy clothes for 3 years. So we know by now that we can survive with 30% of our salaries, all of us. I started cooking. I don't need to go to restaurants anymore. So life is so beautiful now. We can enjoy nature. We can enjoy our children. We can enjoy our pets. We can enjoy all the things around us. We can enjoy God. So those would be things I think which will give us happiness. And once again, thank you very much. I'm very happy because to me, interacting with so many beautiful people gives me happiness. It gives me energy. So thank you all very, very much. Vivek and I would love to come to your school, Reema ma'am, and your Mohali school once things get opened up.
We are really looking forward to those non-COVID times when we can all be together. Otherwise, this is a beautiful platform. You know, like Sarah, whatever will be. You and I can't really, decide that. But certainly, once we are into those normal times or the new normal times, we would certainly, it would be a pleasure to have you.
Absolutely, and vice versa. And Vivek and I would love to host you at Shoolini. Come and stay with us. We have a beautiful hotel actually and a resort here named after Yogananda Paramhansa. We are big followers of Yogananda also. So once again, thank you teachers. Thank you Reema ma'am. Thank you Vivek. Charming as always, inspirational as always. Teachers, be safe. Have a great day. Keep smiling. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Vivek. Wonderful as always. And thank you, Mr. Atul, and thank you.
I think we lost ma'am again. So
thank you
once again. Have a great day.
Thank you, Atul. Bye-bye. Stay in touch.